Welcome to LollieTasking with ADHD. I am your host, Dr. Lola, a multi-passionate mom of three, a physician, and an ADHD life coach because, like most of you amazing women listening, I have ADHD. Join me as we chat about how ADHD affects our lives and learn strategies to help us all thrive, not just survive, with ADHD so we can live the life we want while accomplishing all our goals. Let's get started. My goal always is to help women who are ready to show up in their full potential, not only learn but also implement strategies to maximize their time, focus, and while decreasing overwhelm, which basically allows them to actualize their full potentials in all areas of their life. So it's been a while. I had a wonderful weekend. I went to a movie that just came out. It's beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, it was great. Great seeing friends, great talking to people. Anywho, I digress. So before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Tammy. Tammy left a review saying, "Thank you, Dr. Lola, for this wonderful podcast. I love your vulnerability and I love hearing and about things that helps my ADHD. Thank you, thank you, thank you." So back to you, Tammy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for you guys listening out there, if you love this podcast, I encourage you to leave a review, and share with your friends. So, the more people that listen, the more people, um, the podcast gods will recommend our podcast to. So, thank you very much for the review, Tammy. Yesterday was also great because I talked about my good friends. And in our talking, we talked about intuition and how intuition is seen in women with ADHD. And I thought, wow, that's a very good topic. I should probably talk to you guys about it. So, what exactly is intuition? So, you know how sometimes you're driving, you're like, wait, how did I get here? You know, our subconscious mind. Intuition has something to play with it. How? So, first of all, let's go through the definition. Intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need of conscious reasoning. And according to Webster, Webster said it's the power of the faculty, which is your brain, of attaining direct knowledge or cognition without rational thoughts and inferences. Basically, it's a feeling subconsciously, not a thinking conscious, right? So when we say subconscious is really, people don't realize this, that your subconscious mind is actually the most dominant part of your mind system or brain or whatever you want to call it, and is responsible for a lot more than we think, right? So, like I was using a driving analogy earlier, sometimes I drive from work to home, and the only thing I remember is getting in my car and getting home. My subconscious mind takes over, helps me through all those things, and somehow I get home safely, right? So that also is, a lot of people talk about intuition. They think, oh, it's a voodoo thing or ESP. I actually don't think it's that, right? Intuition is that gut feeling. If something is going to happen before it happens. Is that being able to judge people's character based on their first impression. Intuition is just knowing what the answer is when others around you don't know what the answer is, especially with people who have ADHD. Okay, so why specifically people who have ADHD? So the reason why is that people with ADHD, we think all the time, right? So even before I talk about that, let's talk about why intuition happens. I talked about how it's the subconscious of your brain, right? Intuition is the subconscious of your brain. But people don't realize that that subconscious is constantly filtering and connecting. So when you become intuitive, or when you know that, oh, this could potentially happen, what your brain is doing is looking at all those storage systems and trying to find a pattern and connectivity and come up with a possible answer for you. And a lot of times something intuitive may not quote unquote make sense, right? And that's why it's important to try to learn about your intuition. That way you're able to listen to it and also know when it's not right. You can actually like filter that out as well, right? So of course people with ADHD have increased intuition because we're always thinking, right? We have more thought process and more connectivity in our brain than most people do. So, because of that, we're able to acknowledge and accept and being able to connect to things that most people wouldn't. And it's just more a sheer volume. Most people do not think all the time. We are constantly thinking. We have something in our mind all the time. So, when all those converge and all of a sudden you feel a certain way, that's your conscious process trying to filter in everything and give you an answer that may or may not be logical for you, right? So with ADHD, like I said, our brain is always on. So we have more data points, even though we don't remember them all, they are still in our storage drive, right? So the ADHD experience more intuition than others, simply because of that. And it's important to listen to your intuition. Another reason why is because of our broadly focused way of thinking, right? We have, um, we're able to connect. We're able to look at the bigger picture, right? Like a lot of the times people think our issue is lack of focus, but our issue is actually being able to, the lack of focus, but focusing too much, right? Being able to focus on a lot of things at the same time and having that interweb and connectivity, you know. And that's why we have an amazing insight on things, and we're amazing strategists, we're amazing inventors, we're amazing physicians, right? We're amazing detectives, um, because we're able to like have this huge, like I say, there's like a web of things that come together and are interconnected, right? Um, and that's why also, if we're learning something and we hear something that does not have a connection, it's hard for us to retain it, right? Our mind is like, what's going on? So we don't like mundane things, but we love things that, can come together and make, continue this web in our life. Okay. So if you do have this intuition, and I said already, you have to listen to it. Me saying that does not mean your intuition is always right, or your subconscious thoughts, right? Because what your subconscious thought has done is look through all the things that you've stored in your brain and try to come up with, based on all the stuff that I have about this particular person, you may not want to be friends with them even though outwardly they're nice, they're this. However, your intuition has seen little subtle signs that your conscious thought is not even thinking about. So, a lot of times, like we don't listen to our intuition and we go ahead with the more logical thing. And sometimes we regret that. There's sometimes we go strictly by intuition and it doesn't pan out, right? So intuition doesn't necessarily mean your instincts are always going to be always right. It just means that you have a wider ability of subconscious thoughts. So your brain is able to make those connections. Your brain is able to give you ideas or thoughts that you wouldn't have thought about if you were thinking, right? So intuition is more of a feeling. So it produces that feel for you to be able to make the appropriate decision that you need to make. Okay? So knowing that this is not a woo-woo or like, a lot of people think, oh, we're psychics. And yeah, maybe we're psychics, right? If we don't call it psychic, but it's more, we're intuitive than psychic. And knowing that this is not like some thing, like some woo-woo thing, and knowing that there's actually neuroscience about it, allows me to accept my intuition better, right? Knowing that, like, this is derived from my thoughts, and this is thoughts that I typically don't have access about, right? Think about all the thoughts we have. Think about the ways that maybe we may or may not have gotten in trouble. All those data points are so much more than neurotypical. So we end up being more intuitive than most people would think, okay? So, with this complex and sophisticated brain, intuition is just another facet of the brain we usually don't tap into, right? Um, but just realizing that even though you may not understand why you're having this feeling, learning to know that feeling is very important. That way you can make the necessary decision if indicated. Okay? So I just really want to teach you about intuition and why you should listen to it. Okay. So in summary, intuition is the subconscious part of your brain. That's the gut feeling. That's the insight part of your brain. And conscious is the thinking part of your brain. They both don't always agree, but knowing that your instincts or your intuition it's not just some random things that happen. It's the fact that your brain has made so many different connections. And you can say, okay, based on all these events that have happened, this is the most likely scenario that's about to happen. Then you get a feeling about it, right? Um, but think about it. If your brain always tells you and you get this feeling and you ignore it, guess what? Your brain will stop telling you. But that's why it's always important to lean into your intuition. And even if you don't have somebody in front helping or somebody who would help you understand your intuition, one of the main things you can do is to meditate. Meditate, and when you feel that, try to ask yourself, okay, what is this feeling I'm feeling? You know, does it make sense or does it not make sense at this point in time? But understanding that, also know that intuition is not always right. It's not always right because it may look at all these data points and what you're trying to solve or think about or appear to support may have other things that's in your value system that does not allow you to support them. So your instincts is going to be like, I don't think so, right? So it's important to listen. Or sometimes, right? Like your instinct is wrong because yes, you have all the stuff, but there's a curveball the person has thrown in there that your instinct is not aware of or is not connected with yet. Okay. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Again, just wanted to teach you about intuition and um, being able to listen to it. So I want you, just like in prior podcasts, if you're going to do anything today, pick one thing. It could be I'm going to listen to my intuition whenever I have that gut feeling. I'm going to see how I feel. I'm going to try to see if I can retrieve some reasoning behind it, right? But most likely we won't be able to. All right, so that's it. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your intuition. So thank you again. So thank you again for hanging out with me today, and I hope you have an amazing and intentional week ahead. Don't forget to be, don't forget to reach out. Don't be a stranger. You can join our Facebook community, which is called Thrive in Spite of ADHD. The link will be in our show notes. And you can also email us if you have any questions at hello@LollieTasking, or you can also contact us on Instagram, which is at LollieTaskers. So if you've liked what you heard today and want to join us, you can join us in our new membership coaching program called Accomplish with Ease, because that's what we're about. We want to help you actualize your goals and dreams and reduce your overwhelm. Okay? So that's it. Have a good time. So next time, remember, you can do it too. Some planning, a little bit of balance, and a dash of determination. This is LollieTasking with ADHD. Thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of LollieTasking with ADHD. If you like what you've heard today, I would love for you to click the subscribe button, rate, and leave a great review, in addition to share with your friends. Your review allows visibility and also allows other amazing women to find this podcast. Also, if you have any questions or topics you would like for us to discuss, please contact me via direct message on Instagram at LollieTasker or email us at hello@LollieTasking.com. Till next time, this is LollieTasking with ADHD.